So talk to us about Little Miss Sunshine. I know a lot about it because Ron and Albert are really good friends. And I love the irony that this film was developed at a film company called Focus for a long time, and then it was put into Turnaround, a word you'll all get to know all too frequently, an expression that you'll hear a lot of while you're here. And the irony of it, after the film was done and it went to Sundance, financed completely independently, Focus was one of the bidders for this film. So take us back to the beginning. How did you get involved? Great career in MTV commercials, more financially satisfying, aren't they, than MTV spots? And then features.
Well, you know, we worked in videos and documentaries are a great way to kind of enter filmmaking. They still are. And then commercials came along, and then we started reading scripts, and we got the script for Little Miss Sunshine, and there were a bunch of directors interested in it, and I think we got the job because we loved it the most, and I cannot overstate how important enthusiasm is. You know, just really, I mean, you have to feel it. You can't fake it. Yeah, you can't fake it, because that's obviously something people can sense. But if you feel it in your bones, then you should really communicate that, because that's the fuel that drives everything. And so we got the job, but it still took 5 years to actually make the movie. And you know, we saw a movie in our heads when we read the script, and for the next 5 years it became a process of protecting that. And we finally sold the film to Focus, and then they said, well, let's put Jim Carrey in this, or Ben Stiller, and we'll make him the poster person. And then
they didn't really, I don't think they understand, or they weren't really interested in an ensemble film, so they kept looking to put big stars in a couple of the roles. And so we spent a long time going to these big stars and offering them nothing. You know, we had no money, so we were offering them scale, but you know, so we got turned down by a lot of big stars, and in that process, I think they started to lose faith in the script, so they hired another writer, and they did a rewrite, which we didn't really sanction. You know, we just said, go ahead and do it, but we love the script the way it is, and the rewrite came back, and we basically discarded it, and then not long after that, Focus dropped the film. So, you know, it was a really hard experience for us, but at the same time, we never stopped loving the film, and we felt like, you know, we lived with those characters for so long, we just felt like it had to get made. And what happened is one of our producers actually had the money to put up for the film, so he put up his own money to make the film, which turned out to be a good thing for him.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I want to go back, Jonathan. It was so interesting. How did you convey your passion, and to whom? To the writer, to the producers?
Well, they met with 14 directors, and you know, you go in and you have a pitch, and you bring in materials. You know, we made a little book of just images that seemed to be right for the film, and we talked a lot about music, and we talked about tone, you know, how we would treat it, you know, that we want it to be very realistic and not like a National Lampoon Vacation movie. And
you know, you just kind of talk about how much you love it, and I think that's the thing that really that they feel the most, is just if you really love the material.
And who are you talking to?
So we're talking to Ron and Albert, and 2 other producers.
Mark Turteltaub and David Friendly.
Yeah, David.
Yeah.
We had a lot of producers on this.
Yes, yes, but you know, there it is.
Yeah.
That's a sore point with me, being a producer.
Right.
But, you know, we're doing things about it. So you had a lot of scripts before Little Miss Sunshine, because people said, oh, these guys are so hot, and it's back to Fincher, and it's back to Spike Jonze, and a whole bunch of people who came from where you came from and made, and this
was the one. I mean, it's you know, making a film is such a giant commitment. It's going to be probably 2 years of your life between, you know, and then it follows you for the rest of your life. So you have to love it. You have to feel like it can constantly show you new things. So you know, you look for that connection, and we felt that with Little Miss Sunshine, we felt that with Ruby Sparks, and after Little Miss Sunshine, we got even more scripts, but, and we worked on some, we worked with great writers, but the one thing that we felt really strongly about is that we didn't want to start production until the scripts we had were right, and a lot of times studios will say, well, just start and you'll figure it out as you make
cast it. When you cast it, it'll, we'll solve all the problems.
And we really insisted on waiting and working on the script, and so a lot of films didn't happen for 5 years after Little Miss Sunshine.
What about the casting on Little Miss Sunshine, before we go to the next phase? What about the casting? Did it come to you with a cast? Did you put together the cast?
We put together the cast.
That was really, and it actually happened very quickly. I mean, after the experience at Focus, where we were going out to big stars, and that was just sort of not returning, we weren't getting any response back from that. And then it turned out a neighbor of ours had worked with Steve Carell on a pilot, or it was actually before The Office started airing. He worked with him, and he said, you guys should meet with this guy, Steve Carell. He's pretty interesting. And we had already cast some of the parts, but so we saw the episodes of The Office that hadn't aired yet, and we really liked him, and we remembered him from Bruce Almighty, where he was really funny. And so we met with him, and he was shooting 40-Year-Old Virgin, but it hadn't come out yet, obviously. So we really liked him. He's a great guy, and we just felt like, yeah, he gets it. He knows, he gets the character. So we went back to our producers and said, we like this guy, Steve Carell. And they were like, really? I mean, he's never done anything like this before.
Who's that?
I mean, he was the biggest. We had to sell him the most of all the cast members. So, that's how it works in this business. But and then, Abigail was somebody we looked for a long time. While we were trying to get the movie made at Focus, we were looking for little girls. So we had auditioned her during that time period. She was about 6, I think, when we first auditioned her. And we liked her, but she was so young, we weren't sure if she would work out. And so because it took 3 more years to get the movie made, it worked out. So,
and Alan?
And Alan, one of the great things about making films is that you can, try and work with your heroes. And he was just someone we had loved all our lives. And we, reached out to him, and we just had a phone call. And his, big issue was, how do you two work together? And, we explained our process, and he jumped on, and, he was great. We thought, he loves to say this when people ask him about getting the part, because when we first thought of Alan, we thought, oh, he's too virile. And he loved that. But yeah.
He's such a great, I think between Abigail and Alan, it made the whole cast feel they were so, everybody wanted to work so hard because they wanted to both, impress Alan, and, they all had so much respect for him, and they were also so in awe of how incredible Abigail was. I mean, she never missed a line. She
came totally prepared. And
yeah.
Shooting schedule, how many days?
30 days.
30 days. And, of course, a fixed budget, because Turtle
Yeah.
said, I'm going to give you this amount of money, make it
Yeah.
for that, or there
Yeah.
is no more.